On tonight's episode, we've got some first time NCAA dancers. Also, a story about a trash can. And then it gets worse, a story about the history of the Mavs. We're also going to do some talking about some free agency. And then afterwards, we're going to have the most important person in sports discussion. So that should be a pretty good one. Welcome, everybody, to the Jersey Tales and Mascots Take on Sports. Sort of. Well, we got on tonight's show, well, we've got Silux is here. Producer Lexi's in the booth. We got Drewski. We got Yukon. And it's me, Red the Ram. Welcome, everybody. Let's get started. So, Cy.
Yes. So,
Apparently, there are at least 3 teams that are going to make it to the dance officially for the first time ever, potentially more.
yes, there are. So, we have 3 teams right now that have made it to the NCAA tournament for the first time in their school's history. And they are Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, the Cougars, out of the Ohio Valley Conference. The Omaha Mavericks men's basketball team, go Mavericks, out of the Summit League, and the High Point University Panthers out of the Big South. So these 3 teams have never made it to the NCAA tournament before, up until this year. And I'm always been a sucker for the smaller schools because I like to see, the Cinderellas and history being made there. It's fun to see the mid majors and lower majors and small conferences get their time in the spotlight. And it's really cool seeing that these schools have never made a tournament.
Have you
Um,
found any information as to why that they are making it now all of a sudden? Like, is it because of NIL availability? Is it they've just had a really good year? Their
it
conference
seems like,
sucks.
well, with the exception for Omaha, it seems like SIU, Edwardsville, and High Point have just had really good years. And you've noticed sometimes with the smaller conferences, there's a lot of parity between each and every year of who's good, who isn't good. It's not so consistent like you'd see in like the larger and power conferences. So one year, let's say, in like the MEAC conference, NCA&T will be up, and then the next year you'll have someone like Morgan State. There's a lot of turnover, so it seems like for High Point and Edwardsville, they've just had really good years. High Point is one of the best offenses in the entirety of men's college basketball. If there's a team that a mid-major that I would watch out for, that's one of them. They should get a 14 seed. Now Omaha is a bit different. Omaha is going to the dance strictly because they didn't win their they didn't win their conference, but they are going up against St. Thomas. Now, St. Thomas is a school from Minnesota who is, I believe, in their first year in Division One. So they're making that transition, and they're not eligible to make the NCAA tournament. So by default, Omaha. That's how Omaha got in. Um, that
Well, and then Omaha just won outright.
Well, yeah, that too. But even if they lost, they'd still get in because obviously, St. Thomas can't get in. This has happened before, though. It happened. It was
Bellarmine.
either last year. Yeah, it was either last year or a couple years ago. Bellarmine, they won the A Sun, I believe, and they were ineligible. And I think that's how Stetson got in
Yeah,
last
cause
year.
yeah, because Scotty Davenport had him playing really good. He's stepping down. He just announced just a few minutes ago that he was retiring.
Oh, really?
Eh, and his or not is it Scotty? I may be that might be Willard. I think that's where Willard's at. Uh, he's stepping down from Bellarmine, and his kid's taking over. Doug is taking over, and we're not quite sure how that's going to go because his son was doing most of the coaching in
Hmm.
conference play this year. And he didn't look great, but also they're awfully depleted. They lost their 2 big contributors to the NIL portal, so it's going to be one of those things. But the reason why I wanted you to talk about Omaha is because there's a different story about Omaha. I don't know if you've heard what happened. Is they were down at halftime. It was like one of the like last games they lost. They were down at halftime, or they went on like a run, and they were down at halftime, and it was either the assistant coach or the head coach just beat the snot out of a trash can out of frustration in the middle of the locker room. Like was just like screaming at it, kicking it, beating the crap out of this trash can in the locker room. Well, then they go back out after halftime and they win the game.
Mhm.
And then afterwards, the players just go like meekly go find a trash can. They bring it back over to him and just like, can you do that again?
Oh my god.
And so he's all fired up because they won, and so he beats the snot out of it again. So then it became a game ritual for him,
Where they just beat up trash cans.
and they were finding more elaborate ways before a game to like destroy trash cans. Like it was getting a little ridiculous, and so the top comment I saw when they announced that the Omaha had won outright was there's not going to be a single trash can safe in that city. More trash can abuse is coming your way.
Oh yeah.
So
But
I thought that was a fun little anecdote. 'Cause that's always the fun part about March Madness, like how the Cinderellas got there. You know, they stopped cutting their hair. They all grew out beards. They beat the crap out of a trash can. Um, there's always some weird story that is what gets your team fired up. And hey, if it works, it works.
yeah, I mean, this is why we love March Madness. It's quirky stuff like that that makes it so great. You don't get this in college football. You really don't. And I know they have a lot of traditions and whatnot, but you don't get quirky stuff like this. You really don't.
There's not enough games for it to be
Yeah.
that. Which I'm not saying there should be more games of college football. It's enough, but like there's that's just one of the things that you get out of basketball. It's like a Patino style system. If that went into football, it would be terrible because you'd probably lose a quarter of the first half of the games that you played, and then you'd be a powerhouse at the end. But like then you're just playing the Nebraska game where you're just 9-3. Even though that by the end of the year, you're probably going to be a really good team and probably be able to beat the national championship. But that doesn't matter because you got to have wins up to that point.
Now there are 4 schools. Real quick, there are 4 schools who have gone 100+ years without ever making a tournament. Can anyone name one?
Ever.
Which one?
You said that
They've
never made
in 100+ years. They've never made it.
a tournament or never made the tournament.
Never made the NCAA Division I tournament. Never. They've never gone.
Even when it wasn't the good tournament?
Yeah, they've never gone. There are 4 schools.
I gotta think now.
Oh, I'll give you a hint. One is a service academy.
Oh, Army.
Yes. Fun fact about that. They were invited by the NCAA in 1968. But Bob Knight, if anyone knows who Bob Knight is, turned him down because at the time, the NIT was the more prestigious tournament, and they felt that they'd have a much better chance competing there. And they got blown out in the first round. But Army is the longest running one at 121 years, which is insane. But I kind of, for service academies with sports, I kind of give leeway because it's a service academy and recruiting there is probably not the same as a traditional public or private institution. The other 3 are William and Mary at 118 years, the Citadel, which is a public military college in Charleston, at 111 years, and the University of Denver at 100 years.
Oh, I knew the Denver one.
Yeah, I do in Denver too.
Because I was going to bring that up because we had UConn on the show. Oh, I even
Yeah.
had a note because that's why I was like, oh, it's Army. Yeah, that's right. Because I was trying to remember off the top of my head like what 3 they were. And I wasn't aware that the Citadel actually made it to Division One.
Yeah, they've been there since 1913. Are you serious? Hold up, what?
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I did know. That's funny. I did know the Denver one. Obviously, Denver is a powerhouse in hockey, but not so much basketball.
Yeah, because like in the other thing too, in the 60s, 70s area, the NIT was the more prestigious one too, and I think it was also the one that allowed integration as well, because that was part of the hoopla why Kentucky's got all of those. Well, not all of them, but they got some of those national titles that they're really proud about. It's like you might want to go look back at some of that history.
Yeah.
And they did have a coach named Adolf.
Ah. Yep, Adolf Rupp. Oh boy.
they named it. They named this the arena after.
Talk about names
Not beating-
aging poorly.
Not beating the allegations, are you, UK? No, you're not. Yeah, but the rest of these on the list are like schools that probably, well, some of them I'm surprised at. Like Youngstown State, Sacramento State, like New Hampshire, Maine. And of course you got the newer schools that just joined up. But yeah, it's not a
Incarnate
long
Word,
list.
right?
Yeah, Incarnate Word, North Alabama, Cal Baptist, Utah Tech, stuff like
I
that.
was really.
JIT.
Yep.
It was like the William.
They
What'd you
are
say, William and Mary, or
awful.
Little Sisters of the Poor, or whatever it was?
Yeah, William and Mary.
Yeah. That was always the joke that we would tease the UK fans whenever they get blown out by like some nobody team in the tournament. 'Cause who all did they like little Bobby Morris? Robert Morris, you beat him one year, and so we used to dog him so hard about you got beat by little Bobby Morris. Little Sisters of the Poor, those kind of schools.
Or when Duke lost to, what was it, Lehigh? I think that's what it was. Yeah, it was Lehigh. They lost to.
It was Duke lost to Lehigh and Missouri lost to Norfolk State on the same day.
Wasn't Dame on that team? I think he was. No, CJ McCollum was on that
CJ
Lehigh
McCollum
team.
was.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Sacred Heart's on that list.
Yeah, I am too. That's an A10 school, right? Or is that MAAC?
Pretty
Mac.
sure they're
They're Mac.
NEC or MAAC.
Yeah, they're
One
Mac.
or the other.
But you would have thought like you at least would have had one good year.
That, like, statistically, you have to make the tournament at some point. Like, you can't just. It's gonna happen eventually. Like,
I mean, there's a bunch of teams on that list that statistically it hadn't happened for. So I mean, sometimes you end up stuck in a conference. Like that was always the problem when we were in Conference USA, is you would only ever get like one, maybe two teams out of CUSA that would get to go to the big dance, and so it was always a head-to-head between one of three teams. It was Cincinnati, Memphis, and Louisville, and so you kind of felt bad for everybody else that was at the bottom of that conference, because sorry, as long as one of the three of us are here, it's gonna be one of us. And if they get two, it's because two of us looked really good that year. So it's like a team that maybe gets stuck with Gonzaga. Like, well, what are you gonna do? Anyway, so now we're gonna move on a little bit, and so. Oh, see, we didn't talk about the Mavs last week, and like everyone was dogging on me for not bringing up the Mavs, and like it just got, from a story perspective, it got better, but like from an actual standpoint, it got worse because they had more injuries.
Oh yeah.
They're
down to what, 7
Yep.
players?
At the end of they're at the end of the Suns game. They lost with 7 players. Wild.
7, because what, 2 of them ran into each other?
Yeah, they're currently right pretty even with San Antonio, almost end of the first half. But
Do they only have 7 playing right now? Or did those
hold
2
on that. Let me check.
come back? Or one of the 2 come back?
Yeah, let me check here. It's just funny looking at the injury report. It's just a big old.
Yeah, it's
It's a
bad
big
'cause
old. It's a big old list.
because everything they've done, like, just people, oh, man, like, yeah, we gotta get rid of Luka. You gotta do what now?
Right. Yeah. Right now they have. So it looks like people are on the bench, but uh, they have 8 players who have entered the game.
So they must have gotten one of them back. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, it's about to be the end of the first half, but yeah, they have 8 people who have recorded time.
They got a little bit more time for somebody else to get hurt. But yeah, like they're like, we got to get rid of Luca. It's like, do you really? Yeah, we got to. Like he's just not great for us. Are you sure? Well, all right. I mean, I guess if you're saying that he's actually on a downward trend, and then he goes off to LA and hey, look, he might have a system he works in. Like, what kind of points has he been putting up? It's like double doubles, triple
Yep.
doubles.
Yep.
Like,
He's doing just
okay.
fine.
Oh, well, hey, maybe that's the
It's
system.
no secret what the Mavs are doing.
And then you turn, you look at the Mavs, you go, hey, Mavs. So now that you got rid of Luca, like, how did that trade work out for you? Where's Anthony Davis? Well, he's broken.
That blew up in their face.
And then it just kept spiraling. Okay.
It's going to get a lot worse in Dallas before it gets better.
Oh yeah, without question.
I mean, you just gotta look at that one trade and just be like, are you freaking nuts? Like, nobody, like, people thought they were crank calling when that first went down. Like, that's how
Oh yeah.
stupid of a
I
call it
assume
was.
Shams got hacked.
There is a video of a guy who was podcasting with his co-host, and the look on his face when it came down, he thought it was a prank. Like he couldn't believe it. Like
Yeah.
everyone thought it was a prank. Like, you kidding me? You're trading Luka Doncic to the Lakers for Anthony Davis?
Yeah, well, Anthony Davis was sitting there and was just like, "Oh no, you didn't trade me." Okay. What'd you trade me for? Yeah, because now I'm gonna be mad. And I was like, "Oh, we got Luca for you." Oh no, I totally understand. I'll see you guys later. Like that was his reaction.
It's kind of the
Oh
trade. You're talking to the Lakers front office. You propose a trade, and they just say, "Are you sure?"
yeah. It's, it's like
Like
before you send that Outlook
we do
email and it
have some
goes, "Hey, we noticed you didn't make an attachment. Are you sure this is what you want to do?"
Yeah, everyone thought it was fake. Like, the whole social media world thought the trade was completely fake.
Yeah, because you don't do that. Like, it's like, what the fuck? I
I
mean,
can't say
what
that.
the heck? God dang it! Oh Jesus!
A lot of their losses since then too. I mean, they've had a few wins, but it's been like the Pelicans and the Hornets, and then a lot of these losses. I mean, they're to the Bucks and such, but they're 30-point loss to the Bucks. 24 to the Kings, right? Like it's just sad. It's 126, 102 to the Warriors. Like uh, and then I mean, their closest game was last week against or the last one against the Suns, and that was 9 points. Like it's just wild. They're just embarrassing losses.
What were you saying, Drewski?
Yeah. I mean, I was at a cabin in Maryland with a bunch of friends when the news came out. It was like 1 in the morning, and I remember looking at my phone and just immediately saying that Shams must have gotten hacked because this is the biggest load of bullshit trade I've ever seen. Like I was fully expecting it to be like NBA Centel just changed their profile picture. I mean, never in a million years did I think that would have been a real trade. Like NBA 2K rejects that trade 10 out of 10 times.
Like, you
Yeah, they
can't do
do.
that. It's like the Chicago Bulls is like, hey, we're thinking about trading Michael Jordan. Yeah, what do you need? A whole new team? Well, we were kind of thinking, could we get another Dennis Rodman, please? Are you serious? All right. Yeah, we can do that. Absolutely. Yeah. No, are you sure you're not pulling my leg? Yeah, just crazy. So yeah, we're all just gonna sit back and watch the Mavs burn because nobody understands that, and all you've done is just really ticked off your fans.
I mean, if they're so the trade works out, if they're right about Luca and he has conditioning issues and he can't live up to his potential in LA because of that. That's the only way this trade works out in the Mavs' favor. Because Anthony Davis, he's not getting younger anytime soon. He's on the wrong side of 30. And the rest of that team, I don't think they're not built to contend in the West. With Luca, they were, because Luca and Kyrie and Derek Lively, that works. That works really well. But as the team is constructed now, you have an aging Anthony Davis, Kyrie Williams. What is
Need
Kyrie?
some help?
I said
Kyrie Irving?
Kyrie. Yes, Kyrie Irving. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm having memory lapses today. Yeah, you have Kyrie Irving, and they're just not able to compete with the upper echelon of teams out west anymore because Luca's not there. Luca's the unicorn. Luca, is what made Dallas really a threat. And if he's not there, I don't know what the Mavs' plans are because who are they building around?
See, the
Now?
crazy thing is though, is that now he's on a team with LeBron. So even if the conditioning was a problem, like LeBron's gonna fix that. Like LeBron's gonna see him eating a chili no nut and just be like, no.
I believe it, but even
And you can't
so,
tell LeBron no.
Well, and that is the funny thing,
wow.
Sai, is like what you're saying is not only did the Mavs make it so they can't compete in the West with these other teams, they made one of those teams better.
They did.
Yes.
And this is like LeBron is loving this because he doesn't have to lead the team anymore. He can take nights off, let Luca run the entire show, and then he's rested for the playoffs. They've secured the Lakers' future for the next 10, 15 years because of this trade, which is why I said it needs to be investigated for collusion because there's no way in reality any team does this trade. You cannot tell me Luca for AD is a very favorable trade for either side. It's not. Something shady went down. I
It's a
can't
favorable
prove it.
trade. It's a favorable trade for the Lakers.
For the
Oh yeah,
Lakers.
yeah, not the
I mean,
Mavs.
the Lakers were not a legit contender before the Luka trade, but now absolutely.
They are. Yeah, fully agree.
It's gonna be hilarious when they go and they win the whole thing.
They better
Right.
not all be pissed, but it wouldn't
Yeah, I will
surprise me at this
not.
point. Like, I'd be mad, but wouldn't surprise me.
Oh God, if we have to get Lakers Celtics, I might not watch the finals. I'm sorry, I'm not trying
Yeah,
to see that.
I already didn't watch last year. I will gladly not watch again.
And then what else is going on in the? Oh, Kevin Durant is having fun with his coach. I don't know if you've been watching any of that controversy.
No, no? It's Kevin Durant. I don't pay attention to him that much.
Yeah,
He's gonna
apparently
be
they've been
traded again.
He's
either that or they're going to fire that coach. Like it's going to be one of the two things. Um, and part of it is coach has been yelling at him and about playing defense and stuff. And Kevin Durant was like, "Hey, I could use some defensive help out here." Well, they've got their best defensive guy sitting on the bench instead. Grayson Allen. Yes, that Grayson Allen is out
Ew.
there playing right now.
Grayson
Instead.
I'm
Allen
just
in the
saying
big
that
2025 is wild.
I know.
the Mavs have already lost that Luka trade already. The day Anthony Davis and then when Kyrie went down, that they wanted to win now.
That was the whole point, supposedly.
Yeah. And the
You
problem
went to
with
the
Luca,
finals last year. You hit a red hot Celtics team, and you lost. But I don't think really very many people expected the Mavs to be there quite yet. And you blow it up after one season.
None of it makes any sense. What were you saying, Lexi?
like, and the thing with Luca, his conditioning, he's going to the LeBron school of conditioning.
Right.
LeBron got him in his lab,
He's gonna
100% LeBron got him in his conditioning lab.
he's gonna
It's
come
not
out looking
fair.
like Steve Rogers. He could
Not
look like
fair.
Captain America.
It
I
is
don't
not
buy
fair.
for a second the argument about them not being happy with Luca's conditioning. I mean, there's
Well,
something a lot more nefarious going on here.
I
I
think
can
they were just
imagine.
stupid.
I can imagine one guy who's dumb, who is sitting there and has the one thing is this like he shouldn't be a good basketball player. He doesn't eat right. Like he can't be a good basketball player because he doesn't eat right. He refuses to eat right. And that's the one thing that he's hung up on. Can't see the forest for the trees situation, but like Luca will not listen to him about conditioning. And so because of that, he's got to go. It's like, bro, are you
I mean, if you
okay?
showed up to camp 30 pounds overweight, I get it, but I mean, if he's in shape, if he's performing, like genuinely, why do you care what he eats?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And apparently, at one point when they made it to the or
Finals.
when they made it to the finals, he came and he took the champagne away from him because the conditioning. See, like that's the kind that this is
That
what.
tells me something might be up though. Like,
Well, that's the whole like. I need to micromanage you, and you won't let me micromanage you, so you have to go. Like that's what it smells like. But I don't know. Like it's either that or he's got a cushy job waiting for him or something that's coming down the pipeline through the LA line. I don't know. Something just doesn't make any sense.
I
So
said it.
that all being said, free agency.
Oh wait,
Yes.
wait.
What?
What?
Did you have one more basketball thing?
Well, Joker. I just have to mention it. The 30-20-20 game. That happened this week. First time in history. Of course, it was an overtime, so asterisk all you want. But that's still wild. To finish that, and the breakdown was that if you broke with including overtime everything, if you broke it in total time in half, right down the middle, he had two triple doubles in each half of that game.
That's nuts.
That's just wild. Again, it was overtime, and it shouldn't have ever gone to overtime because the Nuggets had it like closed out, and then let the Suns come back and force overtime when they never should have. So it shouldn't have happened, but still cool that it did. And I'm proud of that guy, and he should be the MVP. All right, I'm done.
He should, but he won't, which is
He won't,
unfortunate.
but it's bull. Yeah.
Well, all right then.
All right, now for agency.
Free agency stuff, because we're like day 2 of the free agency at this point, and there's all sorts of craziness that's going on, and so it's almost like Where's Waldo, but it's like the reverse version of it, which is like who's going to get stuck with Rodgers.
The Steelers are.
The Steelers, apparently.
It looks like the Steelers maybe, but like also Minnesota was like in the wings for a little bit, which would have been the most Brett Favre thing ever.
We were
It
hoping
would've been
for it.
great.
Oh, the prophecy, unfortunately, is not coming true.
Brett Favre.
It's okay. He
Brett Favre.
still has chance to steal welfare money. He seems like that kind of guy. So there's a hope.
I think Steelers welfare money, right?
Listen, all right. Y'all are gonna hate me for this, but I actually think Rodgers to the Steelers is a good move. Simply because
Football wise, yes.
yes, it is a good move.
Mentally, No.
Well, and I'll get to that. But football wise, this is a great move for the Steelers. I know Rodgers is probably not what he used to be, given the limited sample size we saw. But he's good enough, is going to have two great wide receivers in George Pickens and DK Metcalf, and a really good tight end in Pat Freiermuth. This team finally has an offense. And if they can build some pieces around TJ Watt on the defense, shore up the offensive line, find someone to take over for Najee Harris in the running game, they'll be honestly a legit threat in the AFC. I honestly think that. They've been looking for a quarterback for the longest time since Roethlisberger retired, and this is it. People are going to clown them for this move, but it's actually solid. Now that it's only solid because they have the offense to do it now. If it was just George Pickens, I would say this is dumb, but it's not. Now, as far as
Well, to be fair, those two wide receivers, everyone's joking about how they're just going to be in a brawl on the sidelines. Like,
oh yeah, no, they're gonna crash out. Like I feel sorry for Mike Tomlin, but he's gonna see so many crash outs if Metcalf and Pickens don't get the ball. Like it's gonna be. I don't know. This guy deserves a Nobel Peace Prize because he's had to deal with so many head cases over the years. I don't know how he does it, but it'll be fun to watch.
does he have what?
He had
AJ
Le'Veon
Brown?
Bell and Antonio Brown on the same team.
Like, oh,
You know what
how did
it's
you
like?
make that work?
It's akin to Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green in the same locker room. Like
Yeah.
it's so toxic, but it's gonna be fun to watch because it's toxic. And you add Aaron Rodgers and his craziness into it. Oh my god.
Maybe
Yeah,
they'll
what
just say
do
like, "Hey, nobody's allowed to talk to the media, just ever." like, all right. So, Hard Knocks is looking for a home.
yeah, what
I
do
gotta,
you
I got a
That'd be
suggestion.
the
What is it?
greatest reality show on television.
Go send them over the Steelers.
what do y'all think about the Metcalf going there?
I was
Uh,
shocked.
Were you?
It's yeah. I'm
Yeah.
shocked, and I think it's going to end up biting them. But like again, they've proven me wrong before.
I don't think anyone saw that coming at all.
I sure didn't. I sure didn't.
But I applaud them for doing it because they needed to get a wide receiver opposite of Pickens. So, and like I said, they're going to pair him hopefully with Rodgers, and if they can all keep their heads on together for 17 games, it will work out pretty well for them.
And then Fields went to where's Seattle?
The New York Jets.
Yep.
Oh,
the
Jets. That's right. The Jets. Yeah.
Yeah, 2-year, $40 million deal.
All right.
I'm okay with it. That's kind of what I was predicting for the Jets. Yeah, he's not. They're not getting him expecting him to really be the next franchise QB, and if it works out, great. If not, you're tanking like there's no tomorrow, and you're picking top 5 in the draft next year. So
Well, the other alternative is that they just don't have to invest as much in their O line because now they got a scramble quarterback.
that's true also. But
Yeah, because I mean, it
O-line will
worked
be
out for
decent.
it worked out for Washington. It worked out for the Ravens for a little bit. Is if you've got that high mobility quarterback, it opens up so much stuff that you could do even if your team's not complete. I mean, I know I watched Lamar Jackson play in college, and it was basically him and like two wide receivers. That was it. So
Speaking of
maybe go ahead.
No, I was just saying, well, different. This is a different quarterback. But speaking of the Jets, Zach Wilson to the Dolphins. 1 year, $6 million deal with the Dolphins.
Huh. I don't know how I feel about that one.
Yeah, that one's interesting.
There's I don't know. There's been a few of them. Like I know Pickens is getting his journeyman's license right now.
Oh yeah.
He got traded somewhere else. Darnell has apparently won the journeyman's lottery, and someone's actually going to throw up some big money at him. I think.
Seattle
Yeah.
throwing
Sam
money at
Darnold.
another former Jets quarterback last worked out well with Geno. Why not?
Yep. Gino's going to
The Raiders.
Vegas. I almost said
Yeah,
Oakland. He's going
Vegas.
to Vegas.
Should still be in Oakland. Shouldn't be in Vegas, but that's the story.
Oh, then there's the Browns screwing up the market for everybody else again.
What else is new? Like, were we really shocked at this point with them?
I mean, at least it wasn't the last guy that they paid who did all that questionable shit off the field.
Yeah, I mean,
Questionable stuff. Yeah.
oh. Well, I mean, I think Myles Garrett has earned this contract, and I just question his motives and look at him funny because his overarching issue with the Browns was they don't win. He wants to go to a contender.
Right.
Now he's willing to stay with a team that's not going to be contending. Sorry, Browns fans. Just for extra money. Like, make it
quite
make
a
sense.
bit of extra money.
Oh yeah. It is funny. He's like, okay, 3-14 record, trade me. Oh, okay, 123 million, cool. I'll stay.
Like
Now-
40 million. And
It could
Yeah,
also
an average of 40 million a year. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Maybe he's just
ridiculous.
hoping that-
Especially since I've got some big time signings I got to get done here, and one of them wants to be the top paid non quarterback player in the country, and like that just made him a lot more expensive.
Wild.
Now, what were you saying, Drewski?
No, I mean, maybe he's just hoping that Deshaun Watson's days as quarterback there are done. I mean, he retore his ACL in January. I mean,
Oh, yeah, that's
for Joe Flacco carried him to a playoff spot. There's still some talent on that team. I mean, it's not particularly likely that it'll happen anytime soon, but maybe they can turn it around and win with them. But I mean, right now it is just looking like a move that is strictly for. I get it, get that bag, but
I mean, he's getting double what he's worth. So
I also think no team was interested, and that's a hot take. But
we were interested.
y'all were interested?
Yeah.
There's no way they trade him to a division.
I mean, as
rival.
far as
Come on.
trading for him,
Yeah, I don't know. And they may be
I
interested,
mean,
but I
they
don't know if they're
wouldn't do
interested
it.
for the price. Yeah, the price
But-
is.
yeah.
But he could have ended up somewhere else and bounced around a little bit.
I have to imagine, though, for what, hypothetically, if Cleveland would have entertained something, I have to imagine it's at least 2 firsts, or at least a first and a second, or a first and a third. Like, it's a steep asking price because Myles Garrett is still in his prime. So you have to imagine. I don't think any team that was contending had the assets to do it.
Yeah. And the other thing is that we were dealing with is Trey. His agent somehow talked to the front office and was convinced that they could get at least a first round pick for him. And apparently no one's offered a first round pick for Trey.
Oh, Trey Hendrickson?
I would.
Yeah.
To be honest, I would.
I know you would.
He's worth it.
Uh,
But the problem is, at this point, people don't want to trade a first for Trey because now you're going to pay him at least 36. Before it was 28 to 30. Now it's at least 36, 37. At least.
Oh, yeah.
So that might have also just been a you want how much? Yeah, go ahead. Let's open up the trade thing and see what you're worth. Because I think he wants to stay, but his agent. It's hard to tell what these agents are doing. I mean, I know that their goal is to get the best for their client, but at the same time, hey, your client also wants to win a Super Bowl. Let's build a team.
Well,
I
I was
we
gonna
Go
say,
ahead.
speaking of big money and big asks, Josh Allen,
Oh yes.
I
250
mean,
million.
it was just
Guaranteed.
him and an XFL team that managed to go as far as he did, right?
Wow.
That okay. I don't. Okay, that Bills team was not an XFL team. That was actually a pretty good team.
So like, okay, so a UFL team, maybe a Canadian
Even worse.
Football League.
Even worse.
Man.
Just going down.
Hot takes coming up.
Maybe a weekend rugby team.
Oh wow. Bills fans aren't gonna like this, but
Brutal.
that's crazy. No, that was a good team he had around him. I'm being nice when I say that, but it's a well-deserved contract.
I think I'll say there was a team around him. Pretty sure they were all wearing the same colored jerseys.
Yeah. They just didn't perform well when it mattered.
He just didn't have any weapons.
That's an excuse. Okay. You know why this is an
Josh
excuse?
Allen had weapons.
Josh was the weapon.
See,
Mm.
it's go ahead.
Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman was a good pick and a good weapon for them, to be honest.
Shakir. What was his name? The light skinned guy, Shakir. He plays wide
Yeah,
receiver.
they had a good wide
He's also
receiving
good.
core.
And who's their running back? James Cook or somebody? Yeah, they have a decent running back. Like they have weapons. It's not like star-studded wide receivers or running backs or tight ends, but they have a decent core. Here's the thing. If Josh Allen, since we're paying Josh Allen the amount that he's being paid, he needs to play like a quarterback who can elevate his team. All the greatest quarterbacks who've ever played, Manning, Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, what have they done? They've elevated their wide receivers. They've made them better. Josh Allen has not done that yet.
They also didn't take those kind of big, crazy paydays.
Okay, to be fair, in Brady's case, he was dating a supermodel who was making a lot more than he was. So he could afford to do that. Let's not get it twisted and say that Brady was, this holier than thou saint who wanted to not take money.
Mahomes.
I think Mahomes wants to win. I genuinely think he wants to win. But some of these other quarterbacks, I think they're in it for the money, which I get. Get your bag, generational wealth, but you got to balance that out with wanting to win. And if that's not really your goal, I mean, don't be shocked if you're not contending, I guess.
The question is his contract front loaded, back loaded? Or is it even split across?
I don't know. Jingles would know. I don't know.
Yeah. Because if it's backloaded, then maybe they think that they could just keep pushing that down with restructuring. I don't know. Play the
Let me
Chiefs
find out real
game.
quick.
Yeah, Josh definitely I mean, it's 330 million, 250 guaranteed. I'm looking through it a little bit.
Yeah, so they could cut him at the end. But at this point, I mean, he's probably making that in Wheaties Wheaties endorsements out in Buffalo,
So let's see. Average value is 55 million. Yeah, which is second to Dak.
Ew.
It was, yeah. I mean, it's a joke in itself, but
And now I guess
Also,
we
that
know why
contract's gonna be
Go ahead.
in like 5 years. That contract's gonna be cheap. Anyway,
Yeah.
that contract's gonna be completely cheap.
oh
So.
sure.
That's kind of
Maybe
scary, honestly.
that
You think about it.
that's a maybe. There are some financial things that have to happen that I don't know if we are going to see that. Because I know it's the assumption that number must go up, but that is uh, that is heavily dependent on income sources into the league, and if things get a little tight,
Well,
you
all
could see that
signs
not grow.
maybe. I mean, it's happened before, but all signs point to them eclipsing 300 million next year. Like if they keep it up, I mean, they're printing money at this point. It's insane. I don't like the only thing that actually stopped them was the pandemic. Like other than that, they just keep printing money. Like speaking of money, Josh Allen, so his new deal only accounts for 19.7% of his team's cap. Meanwhile, your boy Joe Burrow accounts for 24.47% of his team's cap.
For now, we got
Oh,
some big
okay.
we got some big signings to do.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
Oh, that hurt.
I had to mention it. You know who doesn't count for that much of their team's cap? One of the best quarterbacks in the league, Derek Carr. Okay, only 16.68%.
Which that let you re-sign Chase Young just now.
Oh, that's like re-signing Chris Davis. Please, no. Oh my God, can we stop
Did
signing
you see
people?
the Did you see the Young contract?
I don't want to look at it because I know it's probably not good, knowing Mickey Loomis. Fine, I will go look.
All right, while you're looking, is there any other notable trades or free agency moves that we need to be aware of? Any big
I
ones?
mean,
Well, so
Washington made the biggest move of the day.
You got rid of a safety.
No, we made a trade for Tunsil.
Oh well, he's
Mm,
they really paid him $51 million. Oh my God,
yeah.
where y'all getting money from? Seriously, this is disgusting.
See, I don't. Well,
I don't like
they
this.
didn't have a team, so there was a lot of cap. There was a lot of cap space there.
I don't like that. Yeah, I'm upset now.
All right, because I want to move
let's
into our next topic, and I
see.
know we're going to
Well,
spend a lot of time in it. So if there was anything else that's important, let's get it out now.
yeah, I mean the couple we don't have to talk a lot about them, but the other ones I had noticed or kind of noted was, well, I mean it sounds like the Rams have made it clear that if they don't get a trade for Cooper Kupp, that he'll be released.
He already is released.
Has he been released?
Yes.
Okay.
They were looking for a trade. They announced today they were looking for a trade, or they will
Right.
cut him or release him. So I don't believe he's actually officially released. I think they've got to wait.
Yeah, they do. Well, I think it sounds like they would release him at the start of the year.
It's a couple of months, I think, and
Right.
then they can release him. So it's one of those things where if some other team thinks that there's going to be a big market for him, then they're going to want the trade option.
Right.
If they think there's not going to be a big massive bidding war for him, then they'll wait.
Right.
So if he was the key component of what you needed to elevate your team, you're probably going to be like, so what exactly are you looking for? So
I'm just saying, what are the
Yeah.
Texans doing? Trading away Tunsil, but then trading for Kirk? That's what CJ Stroud's needs, a worse offensive line.
The other little ones I saw, recent that just came out a little bit ago was that the Chargers signed Najee Harris, 1-year deal. And then the ones personally I noted was that the Broncos signed safety Talanoa Hufanga, and retained DJ Jones, the defensive tackle. So they're still working on they're getting their defense shored up to I guess, match Bo Nix's offense. So, yay.
Sure would be
And
nice
I am
if our team would do something like that.
I am interested to see. Of course, the other thing that happened was that the Bills released Von Miller. So I wonder what'll happen with him.
He's probably gonna re-sign.
Yeah,
His deal was a kind of 3-year deal with an opt-out, so they're probably gonna re-sign him at cheaper value.
exactly. That's kind of what I read too. It seemed like it was like they released him, but there was a mutual interest for him to go back. So I'll be happy if someday he retires a Bronco, but that's about it. And I think those are pretty much everything I had noted, other than the one funny thing of, the Cowboys did something. They signed Javonte Williams from the Broncos, running back, but they finally did something.
Something
I'm,
has happened.
I'm just picturing that. That because I'm just picturing like the guy that Jerry Jones pays a ridiculous amount of money to, that's sitting there in his hand holding a bunch of confetti and just was like throws it up in the air. We did something today, Jerry. Oh, that's great.
Remember, they're all in. They're all
We're
in.
all in. That's right. We did something, so we're all in.
Oh Lord. Yeah, I think that's all the ones I had written down for the most part.
Good, because we're getting ready to walk into a landmine, or well, not a landmine, into a field of landmines, because we're gonna be talking about most significant person in sports. Now we could break that out into like we could probably just name individuals, but then like the question becomes is like who is the most important person in sports?
Well,
Are we
okay.
talking in U.S. or international? Because international completely
Sport.
changes.
So, what do you mean by important? Let's define that.
Significant, important,
Oh,
critical to
Yeah.
this sport.
okay,
Critical
yeah.
to the sport. Yeah, it's tough depending on the descriptor you use, because you can say, if you say like famous or something like that, completely changes it. So
I mean, you could, but then like there's also because there's Muhammad Ali in boxing, right? He's the
Right.
greatest, right? And there's Babe Ruth in baseball. Some could argue that John Madden is responsible for the popularity of the NFL today.
Yeah.
Yep. And then
What
you have
about Jackie?
yeah, right. You have that. Right. Then
Jackie
you go to the
Robinson's a
more
big one.
you go to the more right. That's the more along the lines of like important, right? I mean, and they did like you can say Babe Ruth and Jackie both were very important because they both changed the game significantly. You know.
Yeah, because we had been discussing this, sort of like throwing it around in our planning chat, and all I could think of is like obscure sports references, just to like throw a monkey wrench in this discussion, because it was all Michael Jordan, LeBron, Wilt Chamberlain, Tiger, and I'm just looking at it going, Tony Hawk.
Tony
I mean,
Hawk.
that you're not
That's-
wrong with that though, because
Right?
he was
'Cause-
very popular. He had a lot of influence on millennial youth growing
yeah.
up in the 90s and 2000s. Like he
With
got kids into skateboarding.
Right.
Yeah,
the
with
90s, huge
skateboarding
90s figure.
and like X Parks and extreme sports, all that stuff. Would that be a thing without Tony?
Right.
Probably not to the same
Remember
level.
growing up and not knowing a single person that didn't have one of the pro skater games.
Yeah.
I mean, his influence is honestly on par with Michael Jordan, athletes of that caliber.
Could
I
you
have
say
to agree.
Bonds? Because he kind of made baseball like really popular at the time.
Yeah, but like baseball's one of those established things, and you couldn't really name me a skater before Tony Hawk. Whereas there's at least the two big ones in baseball. So like Bond, like that's modern era baseball, and it's a thing, it exists, but like
honestly,
nobody's got a Bonds candy bar.
Honestly, I wouldn't even say Bonds. I'd say if you want to
No,
really go there, Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire, they really
McGuire, yeah.
generated
Home run
interest.
chase in '98. Yep.
Yeah.
I
I
definitely
have
think of grouping, well, kind of grouping all of those sluggers together.
I have one for US that's really important. Michael Phelps.
Yeah, I had that on my
Yes.
list too.
I
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
too, actually. I thought about him.
I mean, I think being the resident baseball person, I feel part of what gets underrated about baseball is the influence that it's had overseas, namely in Japan. So looking at guys like Ichiro and Shohei Ohtani that came over from Japan and lit the league on fire, simultaneously generating interest in the US and generating interest in Japan. I think that's part that still today gets overlooked.
If you had to say one, it would definitely be Ichiro, because even Shohei admitted like Ichiro is the reason like he's doing this,
Yeah,
and
we
he is
might
where
we
he is
might not
now.
have Shohei Ohtani without Ichiro Suzuki. He's
Oh yeah.
one of the greatest hitters of all
Hmm.
time, charismatic. He pretty much started the real trend of Japanese players coming over to play in MLB. So I think he deserves to be in this discussion.
So in soccer, is it David Beckham?
You'd probably say like Messi
Messi,
Ronaldo.
or
Ronaldo.
Messi's up
Ronaldo.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Messi's there
Um,
now, right?
Messi's
So
been
Messi,
there since
yeah.
he was 15. Like,
He's been good like a long time. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
You got
see, this
you
is
got Pele too.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Pele.
because
Well, he was
this is like
influential for us when he came over to play for the Cosmos in New York City.
right because this is that like, discussion that goes back to the baseball stuff. It's like, yeah, Barry Bonds is important, but it's like the David Beckham, Messi, like that's all relatively new. Whereas you talk to somebody that's actually a big follower of soccer, they're gonna give me somebody from the '60s or the '70s that was revolutionary to the game. Just like
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair though, like Serena Williams and Venus revolutionized women's tennis.
They made it very popular,
Yeah,
I do
especially
have one for winter sports. He was Sean White.
oh,
yeah,
him.
Sean White.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sean
Yes. Yes.
White. Yeah, he's on that
another
Tony Hawk level for
exactly
Yep,
snowboarding and winter sports.
a big name in extreme sport. Well, yeah, extreme sports is definitely Sean White.
because he probably
And
put that on the board for most Americans.
yeah, definitely a household Olympian name like Michael
Yep.
Phelps,
I mean, he's part of the reason that snowboarding is in the Winter Olympics now. It wasn't originally, but the Winter X Games became so popular that the Olympics couldn't resist.
It became so popular that the Olympics were like sitting there going, "We're getting nervous. Like this is going to be bigger than
Yeah.
us."
But if I had to put it, I'd say it's Ali, to be honest.
And then there's Gretzky.
Muhammad
If
Ali.
we're talking all time, it's Muhammad Ali. I mean Jackie Robinson. If we're doing a Mount Rushmore, I'd say Muhammad Ali, Jackie Robinson, Michael Jordan. I mean,
Yeah, you gotta put Michael Jordan up there.
You could put
I mean,
LeBron up
from
there now, to be honest.
No, you
no,
can't. No.
See,
I
this is that.
can't.
See, this
LeBron
is
is
that
awesome. I
generation
mean,
gap right here.
you
No.
could
Yep.
you
You
could
can't.
Okay,
absolutely
It's
make the
Michael
argument
Jordan.
that LeBron is better than Jordan. That there's a discussion there that can be had. Um, but as far as influence goes, I mean, Jordan's name will forever live just through a brand. I mean, LeBron has not had that; it will never have that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like I
it's the
seen
candy bar argument, right?
you got
Yeah,
Lexi.
I
You
mean,
got kids killing each other over Jordans. They're not killing each other
Yeah.
over LeBrons. Sorry
Yeah.
not to be
I mean,
morbid, but it's
no, like Jordan. I
I
mean,
have
Jordan
another
is
one.
arguably as famous for his shoe brand as he was for playing basketball at this point.
honestly,
I
hot take. I would say that Steph Curry, and I made this argument in the chat. Steph Curry has had a more influential um
He changed the game.
influence, yes, than
I mean,
LeBron has ever had.
he brought forth the
the 3-point.
Wave of a bunch of guys coming in shooting threes.
Like kids
Yeah,
want to do
for-
that nowadays. They don't want to be like LeBron. No offense
For
to him.
better or for worse, he did that.
I have another
Yes.
one. A lot of people didn't care about Edison much until he broke the record. Usain Bolt.
Yes.
Yeah, he would
Yeah,
definitely be up there.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had really lasting impact, but yeah,
He's still a household name.
sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Especially in Jamaica. Like you go there, oh my god.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
revere him.
Somebody did mention Gretzky.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
See,
just
as
tried
far
to
as
sneak
hockey goes.
Gretzky.
Yeah, as far as
Undisputed
hockey goes,
greatest hockey player of all time.
sure.
As far as
I mean-
hockey goes, Gretzky might not even be the most influential, important, to be honest.
Who are you putting above Gretzky?
Yeah,
It's hard to say because this is the problem is you have generation gap. Like
Yeah, but
I could say Lemieux is up there too because Lemieux changed. Like
you can
this
have
is
the
the
argument
most.
between LeBron and Jordan. You can have the argument between, Mahomes, Tom Brady, Joe Montana. You can have the argument in baseball. I mean, Wayne Gretzky statistically you can't dispute that he is the greatest hockey player. There's nobody remotely close.
Well, we're
But
talking
that's
about
the
what he
question.
did.
We're talking about
That's the
influence.
question. Influence. That's the question.
Well,
It's about
influence and
Yeah,
relevance. Again, this goes back to the Jordan thing. Like Jordan is
Again,
basketball.
Yeah.
Because
Gretzky
if
still is
you
hockey.
didn't,
much so.
There's one number retired across the entire sport of hockey, and that is number 99 for Wayne Gretzky.
yeah, and the just to put it in context, like I didn't start following hockey until recently, and I knew who Wayne Gretzky was, and that was the only name in hockey that I knew.
I had a Wayne
know-
Gretzky poster in my room growing up. Like
mean,
come on.
In
Like,
Louisiana.
he's well, Maryland, but yeah, like he
Okay.
transcended sports.
For Canada, I would say yes, but for the United States, I would say there's a team, not Gretzky, but a team that was more influential than Gretzky was.
Team
Well,
USA.
yeah,
Of course,
that
Miracle
team.
on Ice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but even then, you still knew who Wayne Gretzky was. Like, and that's we're not talking
Yeah.
about teams, because
I could
otherwise,
name several players on that 1980 U.S. team, but none of them really had a lasting impact on their own.
yeah, because
I
like
mean,
otherwise, if you're
Gretzky's
talking about like big, if you're doing teams at this point, now I go to John Wooden, out in
UCLA.
At UCLA,
Yeah.
right? And because
The
they were
92
just
Dream Team. I mean, we can talk all day about legendary teams.
I
but,
mean, Gretzky is
they're-
considered the great one. I mean, that's a hard nickname if you're talking about influential. Call him the great. You know what I mean? If you're called the great one,
there will not ever be a hockey player that has the same legacy on and off the ice that Wayne Gretzky has. It's just not. Maybe 100 years down the road when we're all dead, and some random phenom will break out. Right now, no one is touching Gretzky as far as hockey goes.
Oh, they're hoping what's his face?
Well, you got
McDavid is that. But
Ovi's gonna pass his
McDavid?
scoring record.
yeah,
but
they're hoping McDavid
Well,
will be that.
Ovechkin is gonna pass the goal record. I mean, yeah, McDavid's
it's
really
not
good.
if, it's when now.
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's win. It's not enough, but
I mean, you can say you are right about Gretzky being influential because, they're talking. People are talking about Ovi breaking his record, when people don't really care about hockey.
right.
Like
It's
Gretzky's
for
that's
so
what I
long.
was.
Gretzky's record is considered unbreakable.
I mean, that was kind of
the
what I was
thing
getting at. Is again, it's that because again, Tiger Woods changed golf for the world basically.
Made it made it a worldwide thing.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
And like that's that kind of like important change. Same thing again. Jordan, Tiger, like right up there.
You know what? But you know what I've noticed though? It's easier to have this discussion with individual sports. Like we can sit
easily.
here and say tennis, we know who it is, men's and women's. Golf,
Yes.
we know who it is for the men. You know, track and field, swimming. For like hockey, you know, basketball, football, soccer, it's a discussion because there's different eras at play, different rule sets. People have different opinions based on, you know, what they saw growing up. Like it's difficult.
I mean, there are, but I still think the argument, like, no, there's still like 30 years later, and there's no one close to touching Gretzky, both in his skill level, what he did statistically, and the impact he had on the sport.
Well, yeah, I feel like for hockey and to a large degree basketball, the NBA, we know who it is. But the other sports, very much debatable.
Yeah, the
Like,
question is like football. I mean,
I couldn't tell you.
I was still hanging my hat on Madden just because in 20 years, people are still gonna be playing Madden football. Like
I
you
do
can't-
have one name that no one would even probably think about. That's at this point, it's almost 90 years old. Jesse Owens, from when the U.S. went
Oh, the
to
track and
That's
field.
a good point.
yes.
That's a good one.
When he went to
It's hard to do in like world because that's you have to look at. It's like cultural influence, being good at it, or like impact beyond sport.
yeah, that's a good one.
I-
He gets
and
overlooked a lot.
I was still trying to figure out who was relevant for football because I've been stuck on
Football's-
this.
I'd say
'Cause, like,
Brady.
it's so
Brady.
hard.
Probably Tom Brady.
'Cause you
It's
can't have
Brady.
Brady.
I mean,
You can't have Brady without
It-
Manning. So like, if the two of them
Well,
are still
hold on.
slugging it out, then like no.
It can't be Brady because see, this is again, it's also dependent on who you talk to. If you talk to someone who grew up watching the Niners and the Cowboys, back in the 80s and 90s, they're gonna say, "Oh, it was Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith. Oh, it was
Yeah.
Joe Montana." You kidding me? The league wouldn't be how it is without Joe. Like
yeah.
you go back further. Oh, it'll be the Packers or the Steelers. Like it's so dependent on
Or
when
it'd be
you
Johnny
watch.
Unitas,
Generation.
Yeah, Johnny Unitas. That's a good one.
Famous Louisville
Yeah.
quarterback.
You
The
could
other
say
thing that comes to-
Dion, to be honest. You could say Dion
Ah,
because of his
mm,
great
no.
player. He's not.
No.
Maybe now with the coaching, I mean, he's definitely
I'm
become a
talking
more
the
larger than life
impact.
figure through that. But
in college, I could see it actually.
You're
I'm talking about the
reached
impact
now.
where
Go ahead.
he played baseball and football in the same season.
I
But
mean,
that's split.
he never played
Yeah.
baseball there really that well. He didn't. He was not a
Yeah.
good baseball player.
Well, then
Yeah,
we'd
and
also
he
have to
didn't-
And if we're talking about dual sport athletes, Bo Jackson did both better
Yeah.
than Deion Sanders. If Bo
Yes.
Jackson didn't get hurt like he did, we are having a completely different conversation, and he is absolutely on everyone's sports Mount Rushmore because he would have dominated in both. Like he
Yeah,
is
he
the
would.
one guy that would have done it.
But no, I think Lexi, you're onto something though. With Dion, I think
No.
right now, no, right. I'm gonna qualify this. Right now, he is the most influential college coach. He might be the most influential
Yep.
person in college football right now.
He's not even the most influential one that's on the Aflac commercial.
No, I'm saying right now, simply because of he is changing the game, and how
Is he?
colleges. Yes, he has.
If you can't say that Dion is the most important person in college football right now,
He is. He 100%
like come
is.
on,
He is.
Like
No,
there's
he
no
is.
one, no one else is because Saban's gone. He's taken up that mantle. Like I'm sorry, Kirby Smart, or I'm sorry, the guy at Bama. It's not
Well,
you.
look,
It's just-
Kirby's busy like bailing his players out of jail right now. So like that's why he can't be like on the Aflac commercial. It's not his fault.
I mean, Dion literally
I mean,
turned
if
Colorado
we're
into
sh-
something. Like
if we're
he put
strictly talking
Colorado.
influence, Dion is number one in college football right now.
And he's also
And-
encouraged. What I really like, you've seen a lot more players want to get into coaching because of Dion. You've seen a lot more kids wanting to go to HBCUs because of
That was
Dion.
That's another
Like,
good point. I mean,
Yeah. So right now, not saying all time, because all time I think that is probably Nick Saban. But right now, he is the most influential person in college football. Maybe even college sports as a whole. You want to have that debate.
I don't see it yet. I still think he's a flash in the pan. He just happens to be the spicy potato right now that everybody wants to cover.
we'll see.
And,
mean,
okay,
I might change my tune. 10 years from now,
So-
in the event that he is still at Colorado and has done some things.
now I'm curious, who do you think then in college sports, which is the most influential right now?
It's there now.
See, that's the question: are we going into? Is it all time or is it now?
Because I'm
Once-
going from a historical perspective, and you guys are throwing out like, "Hey, here's the flavor of the week," and we
Well,
don't have enough time to say,
okay.
"Hey, flavor of the week stuff doesn't," because that can change. Okay, everybody was. You could go back and listen to this last year. We were talking about free agency and signing deals and stuff like that, and who we thought were going to set the world on fire, and we were completely wrong because guess what? Times change. So you really have got to have a legacy there. Saban would be up there. Bear Bryant's up there, just for the importance of it. John Wooden would be,
Betsky, Bobby Knight, they have to be up there
Coach
too.
K.
yeah.
Yeah.
Coach K.
Roy Williams, unfortunately, has to be up there. I'm not putting Boeheim up there. I've never.
No, he's
Rick Pitino. I mean,
Patino.
either one of Patino or Calipari is up there,
No,
whether
we're
we
not.
like it or not.
Oh,
No,
Cal
Cal's
does not
not.
belong up there. Oh God, no.
Patino though. Patino. I mean,
He's yeah, and he's gonna do it
I
again.
know,
St.
just
John's. Oh boy.
cool it on the hookers this time.
The ugly hookers. At least get some attractive
mean,
ones. I bet St. John's will spring for the pretty ones.
Yeah.
You're
They got
in
that
New
kind of
York.
money.
You got a lot of options. Let's not go down the same path.
We're strippers. They're ugly strippers.
I'm going to throw, if we're good for the moment, I'm going to throw one more sport out there. And these people maybe not on this like all-time list with Ali and all that, right? But I wanted to mention a few people. Dale Earnhardt.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Ooh.
110%.
Yeah.
That is a name. I mean, well, obviously, in one way, changed the sport. A tragic event happened that very significantly changed the sport.
Yep.
Yes.
But also one of the greatest to ever do it in his sport, and is a household. Well, maybe not as much anymore, but is very much a household name. And when that accident happened, at least in the U.S., the entire country knew it.
I watched it live.
That's like Tom Brady getting. I mean, not dying necessarily, because I mean, it's very, 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 very unlikely to happen. But it's like watching the Super Bowl and Tom Brady tearing his ACL and being done for his career.
It's
like never walking again. Like that is the level. I mean, except of course, Dale Earnhardt lost his life,
right. Yeah. No, it's
and the biggest stage in his sport.
But that
that
comes
lost
to the
it.
question again.
Well,
What?
I was getting ready to counter the Dale Earnhardt, because I don't want to. It's like he's now enshrined, but the guy that was winning everything during that time period wasn't Dale.
Richard Petty.
No, it was
I
Jeff
mean-
Gordon.
Got Jeff Gordon and
What?
Jimmy
Yeah,
Johnson.
Time.
Well,
Jimmy
hold up.
Johnson.
Whoa.
Whoa,
Not
yeah, that
not
time.
when Dale was alive. No, not
mean-
Jimmy Johnson.
I think
Jimmy
you're getting
Johnson came
Earnhardt
later.
Jr.
I mean,
think you're
him
getting
and Jeff
Junior.
Gordon overlapped. He still won.
No, Jeff Gordon did.
He
Yeah.
won 7, and I believe Gordon won 4 or 5 championships.
Yeah.
Which
Jimmy,
If we
yeah,
want to talk, we can talk about Jimmy Johnson, 7-time champion
my
as
Right.
well.
I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't have the impact. He didn't have the impact. He didn't have the name recognition that Dale Earnhardt had.
That Dale Earnhardt has, yeah.
Jimmy was boring. He's like really boring.
I
He
mean,
just was.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.,
He
God
is an
bless
asset.
his heart. He wasn't
Yeah,
a particularly good driver, but
mixed.
he was the most popular driver, voted most popular driver like 10 years in a row, solely because of who his dad was.
Like-
If we're talking influence and skill and achievement in their sport, I think Dale Earnhardt is absolutely it for NASCAR and deserves to
Sure.
be in the conversation.
Well, if we're doing motorsports, we have to put
Ye-
Mario Andretti, Lewis
Yeah.
Hamilton,
Of course.
Max Verstappen. I can never pronounce his name. He has to be up
Max
there.
Verstappen.
Verstappen.
Yeah, he has to
Yeah.
be up there too.
That was I think so. That's where I was going next was F1.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got so
And
obviously Mario
And it has to be up there as
Andretti.
well. Yeah.
Mario Andretti is like a household name of like, it is. Yeah, you got obviously Lewis Hamilton as far as a recent one and Verstappen, but You got a little, a little bit older. You got Michael Schumacher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey,
Um,
same kind of deal too.
and you got Senna as well.
Yes.
So I figured I'd mention racing a little bit. That's very much a sport to me. And a lot of, obviously, those F1 names are big as far as worldwide goes.
Yeah.
So,
True.
And getting bigger.
oh yeah. So no, F1 is, again, maybe not up there in the all-time greats kind of category, but those names are definitely very big worldwide names.
I find the circuits on Formula One to be much more exciting and interesting than the bulk of the
Well,
NASCAR
NASCAR
stuff.
is almost entirely ovals, so I can't really blame you there.
Yeah, because to me, it's I want
Yeah,
I want
they're
more excitement. I
We're
want
making a left turn.
No, I get that though.
NASCAR, NASCAR is
done
working on
street-
that because
they've done
they're
some street
they're
races.
getting more and more circuit courses.
Yeah.
So
They're actually racing at one of the same courses that F1 races on now. So
Yes, they are working on fixing it because, to me, that's gonna change NASCAR when they're no longer stuck in a freaking circle. And so it's not just, oh, I got to manage my laps, I got to manage my fuel, I got to manage my drag. This is when I need to go. Like, there's that, but then there's also, hey, I've got to be able to do cornering, I got to do energy management through these sections here. There's a lot more on the more advanced courses that make things going to be more exciting, and I think that would fix the sport because then I would be more interested in it than I am now because there's I get it, I get why it's in a circle, but man, I want some chicanes, I want some hard turns, I want some heavy braking, I want to see excitement in rather than doing loops for a while. But
All right, I got one. What about esports? Okay.
Ooh, that's a whole different
Oh.
conversation.
fatality.
I was mostly joking, but okay, if you all want to have that conversation, you can.
I'm saying it's not a conversation.
I mean, I couldn't name a single name. So
I
Same.
just did.
Me
I just
neither.
did. Fatality. That was the one.
Who?
Yeah, you don't know him yet, but I
There's
do.
know him.
a furry Sonic Fox. That's literally the only.
oh yeah,
esports I
Sonic
know.
Fox.
And
Oh,
I
I
would
So if you
not know him at all.
I forgot he was a
the-
thing. Oh,
so the
jeez.
really thing about this question is this can be different in any part of the world. Like if you ask someone else, it can be very different. If you ask someone in Europe, it can be very different from here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Influential. Like that's where the Jordan factor could be more. Because if you ask someone in Europe who Jordan is, that's where you could. You know what I mean?
They're gonna know Jordan.
They will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you probably could say Jordan.
That was
He
my
might
argument.
not be the best player of all time, but he might be the
mean-
most influential.
I mean, it's debatable on whether or not he was the best player of all time, but
He was,
Mm.
but okay.
He's not.
He what?
okay, yeah. See, like this is the problem you're gonna run
Oh,
into with this.
jeez.
But like
See-
again, LeBron hasn't done now. Maybe in 40 years, we're all gonna be walking around in LeBronies.
I don't think so.
I
hope
don't
not.
think so. I mean, Jordan literally changed how shoe marketing works.
Yes.
He saved a company.
Like I said,
Mhm.
these kids are killing each other over Jordans, not LeBrons or KDs or whatever Zion got. All right. So just alone on that, not to be morbid, that tells me just how influential that man is. He owned a basketball team. He sucked at managing it, but he owned a basketball team. No other NBA player can say that.
Well, also he managed to get a basketball logo on jerseys for other sports.
Right?
I remember Derek Jeter was one that was part of the Jordan brand. I mean, it's crazy.
Okay, that's where you have to go. Is that part of Nike or is that Jordan?
I mean, it's part of
just using
Nike,
his
but it
name at that
still
point.
signifies the influence that Jordan has had. Doesn't matter if it's Under Armour, Nike, Adidas, whoever's making it. Yeah, it's still Michael Jordan.
Yeah. LeBron wishes he could have the impact that Michael Jordan has had.
So my two then, I think there's three. I think you could say Messi, Jordan, Ali is probably your top 3.
I think it's too early for Messi.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
No,
Mhm.
it's not.
I mean,
Not
No,
not
at
he's
too early.
no.
he's close to retiring. Like
There's just
fully.
too many
Yeah,
soccer stars.
but the thing is, people consider Messi the greatest to
Well,
play that
Yeah.
sport.
well, don't tell
I mean, I can
Ronaldo
hear.
fans that, but
I'm not going to say he's definitively not on this Mount Rushmore.
I feel like Jordan and Ali are like locks, but the third
Yeah.
one is just so
You
it
could say
depends.
Jackie.
I mean, you could, but then again, that's the question. I mean, yes, change the sport, and he's a very important historical character.
I mean, Jackie
Yeah,
has his own day. Like,
his numbers retired throughout
What does he have?
baseball.
A
Like,
candy bar. Like
he
Babe
did.
Ruth has a candy bar.
So does
Yeah,
Carmelo
but, like,
Anthony.
Technically, it's not named after Babe Ruth. I hate to burst your bubble.
It's not.
Actually,
Does,
actually,
is Carmelo the
Actually.
biggest NBA star?
they didn't want to pay him royalties,
wait, what?
and so the Babe Ruth situation, when this came out, they didn't want to pay him royalties, so they came up with all of these other elaborate explanations on why the Babe Ruth or the Baby Ruth wasn't really named after Babe Ruth. And then on his deathbed, he's like, "Oh yeah, we named it after it because it would sell because he was popular."
Well, hold on now. What was that about Carmelo Anthony?
I mean, he has a candy bar named after him.
He does?
Wait, really?
What do you mean?
Seriously?
The Carmelo, yeah. It's like a caramel bar.
I've
don't know if it's
never
still-
heard of that.
I don't know
I'm
if it's
gonna
still
look
a
this up.
thing.
I'm looking this up now. I want to buy this.
Carmelo candy, Google. Yeah, it's Cadbury Carmelo.
Okay, again, 100 years after his death, they're still selling the candy bar.
Mellow cakes? What?
Maybe well, okay, so let's say Carmelo is probably
You could have this
Carmelo
conversation
is
for
probably not
hours.
named after it.
Oh,
But
yeah,
Mellow
absolutely.
bar. Oh my god, there is one. It's called the Mellow Bar. Yo, that's
That is-
crazy. Oh my
That's
god.
something.
it's probably, yeah. I don't know if they're related because it's made by Cadbury, but I'm gonna call. I know Carmelo used it back in the day as part of his marketing or whatever.
Is Tiger up there on your Mount Rushmore?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
pre-Landerer Tiger, at least.
I just think of every time I think of Tiger, I think of his face on a Wheaties box.
he is.
I
But
just
I would quantify that his
he's
impact.
also had problems in the past, like
Well-
off field, off golf situations.
That's
But
all
still-
athletes.
And it still changed the sport, though. Like, it got more young people playing
did.
golf.
Yeah,
My biggest knock with him is he was promised to not only make the sport more younger, but more diverse. That never happened. And I know it's not solely his fault, but there was a lot of promise with him doing that. I kind of knock him down a few pegs because that never happened. Also, golf, while it did explode in popularity, it didn't explode to the levels of popularity that I think many people thought it would. It's still seen as sort of a, elitist sport for people who got money. But that's less so his fault and more so, the people who run golf, if that makes sense.
I don't know. Like, I don't see it as a money sport.
I do.
I mean, it used to, but I know a lot of blue collar workers that just can't wait just to go out and play golf and
I
are
feel like
super into it.
I feel like I'm too poor to play golf.
I mean, you're not.
I do think
Well,
that there's more average people playing it these days.
I mean, if you want to take me to the golfing range, we can.
Oh no, I can't stand golf. So
Oh.
But I take it at Top Golf, not sponsored.
yeah, you could definitely do top golf and
For mini
go
golf.
to the A. There you go.
I'm good at that.
Who's the most influential mini golf player?
Me when I play golf with friends, because I say a special word that I can't say
Well, it's Happy
when I
Gilmore.
get angry.
It's Happy Gilmore.
We all saw that shot.
I think
All
the
right.
question you
Go ahead.
can one more thing back onto this is you can do this and it will be different for every like generation based.
Well, that's what we were trying to get past was the ones that transcend that generational divide, which I think you were having a hard time with your LeBron statements because Michael Jordan is significantly more important to the sport of basketball.
I said
than
Jesse
the,
Owens and Jackie. I was going beyond that.
and they changed
Yeah,
the
those are good.
sport, but I don't know. Like that was such a hard one.
It's tough.
What, Jesse Owens?
Jesse Owens changed
Oh.
a war. Like
It didn't change the war.
What he did to go into Nazi Germany and do all that is very commendable. And
Yes.
he does not get talked about enough, I believe. Like, he gets overlooked. I don't know why he gets overlooked for what he did, but he did. His influence certainly is there. I think if we're talking about the most influential Olympic athletes, he's up there on Mount Rushmore. Has to be.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's fair.
If it's the Olympic sports, Mount Rushmore. Like it's such a hard one for like I've only got 4 spots.
Also with boxing, there's
it's all eight.
Well, there's also Floyd Mayweather. What was his face? Mike Tyson as well. Holyfield, George Foreman, Sonny Liston, Rocky, the real Rocky, not the fake one. There's a lot. Oh, for sure.
The one was, yeah.
So like I mean that's the thing. That's what I'm looking for is that like almost unanimous. Like hey, yeah, it absolutely you can't. You absolutely. That was kind of what we were playing with. Because Jordan's there outside of the young people. I'm sorry. It's if you watch Jordan play and you knew how important he was to the sport of basketball, both on the court and then everything afterwards.
These kids don't know. They don't
Yeah,
know.
I moved back to Jordan, so
I don't know. We got to get moving off of this though because we're over time.
Wait, real quick. Kobe Bryant. You can't tell me he was very influential too.
He was, but he's not Jordan.
Putting it,
He's
Nowhere
not.
near Jordan.
It's not nowhere
See,
near. but
that's
he is
that's
also
the
very
part. Like,
influential.
stop worrying about people that aren't at that precipice. Like, yeah, they've contributed. Good job. Everyone says Kobe when they throw things in the trash can. Fantastic. I won't take a helicopter ride with you, but like
Whoa! Okay.
Okay.
Yikes! Yo, that's crazy.
But you're not Michael Jordan. Like, I'm sorry, you're just not Michael Jordan.
Wow.
No, he's not.
He's not.
So like then at that point, basketball is closed. That's buttoned up. We're moving on to a different sport. Quit like picking out other people. Yes, they're important. Yes, what they did was significant. But are they the Michael Jordan of their sport? The Tony Hawk of their sport? Like that's what we're looking for.
You got to keep that helicopter joke in, Lexi. In fact, make it a short. Put it on YouTube.
Oh boy.
You're gonna get all the Kobe, the Lakers fans to come after you for that.
I've already criticized LeBron too, so they got that going for them as well.
Hey, all publicity is good publicity.
To be fair, I was talking about you guys making a run earlier in the episode, so
you don't get that one weird Lakers fan on Twitter called LeBronchitis is coming after you. Oh my gosh!
Oh, great, fantastic. Anyway, let's wrap this up. So hey, we did our best. Our Mount Rushmore is still not complete. So we'll have to hold this discussion for later and figure out. We'll have to. It's homework assignment instead of trying to. Like, I'm going to find a secret. No, we're looking for who's going to join Jordan up at the top. Like who is on that Rushmore? But we'll have to figure that out later. So if you've got any ideas, you can always leave it in our comment section. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next week.
Welcome to March Madness.
And it's gonna get crazy.